Where do you start if you want to change the world? Is it by seeing a nation become energy self-sufficient? Helping charities to be as productive as businesses? By using their talents to give them a livelihood. Big changes like these can start with something small, like asking better questions. So where do you start if you want to change the world? You start right here.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Chief channel. Joining you today is myself, your host, Aaron Lee, as well as a familiar face, none other than John Tan. Welcome in, John. How's it going?
Thank you very much.
All good on your end?
There is a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. But there's
Uh-huh.
another saying, familiarity brings people closer. All right, I prefer the
Right.
second one.
Right. I think it's better to be positive, right? But
Yeah.
of course, it goes both ways. But anyway, today we have an interesting topic about transformative media, right? But this topic has been a while. I mean, in in the world for quite a while, but it's still quite
Mm,
prevalent in and relevant in terms of people still use it till today. Now, John, I would like to know what
mm.
your take is on transmedia.
You are right in using the word transformative media, but today's focus is on transmedia, meaning there are
Oh,
different types of format for
ah,
communication. Different
right.
in today's language, different types of storytelling. So it's important to know the many different types. Now, if members of the audience and those who have been dutifully watching every week, thanks for your support. This started as a series of doing your own brand strategy.
Right.
So this is actually the 10th episode with three more to go, whereby without a consultant, you can actually come up with your own brand strategy. That's a promise. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't believe me, go back to all the recorded sessions. 12 to
Right.
go, you could watch one and three more to go. You can have the whole brand strategy comprising three key elements: brand identity, brand management of the identity and your positioning, and the third element is brand communication. So today we want to touch on the many different types of format of
Mm-hmm.
brand communication. Yeah. Mm. Not to
And speaking
confuse
of
us, but
which,
to
I think,
but to let us know that
yeah.
we got to know the different format. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I start the ball rolling with the
Sure,
three
sure.
broad topics we can cover
Can,
today.
can.
For transmedia, we can cover physical realm versus the virtual realm, or another form of languaging is online versus offline, or if you like, digital realm and offline, the real
Right.
world, so to speak. Yeah. But today the real world is more on the online rather than in
Right.
the physical world we are living.
I mean,
Secondly, static.
even
Yeah,
physically, right? Even physically, more like even in like let's say you're driving, most of the billboards are also digital, also anyway, right?
yeah, it's digital and
Hmm.
it's just like converted to physical. So the whole
Yeah.
world has not changing it. The whole world has transformed.
Correct.
Secondly, we want to cover static communication without movement. For instance, written, print as we call it, whether physical world or online world, and then motion. Motion will be things are moving in the form of video, in the form of film, etc. And the third topic I would very much like to cover for today and wrap up transmedia is there are many stages in communication, but we could shorten it to three key stages. Yeah?
Right.
Awareness, yeah. Second is knowledge building. Third is activation. Yeah? And we must know the stage, otherwise the copywriting and
Mm.
visualization will be off target. Huh? All right.
Right.
So Aaron to you, Aaron to you, Aaron Lee. we shall we start the ball rolling with you asking the relevant, shake
Sure.
me up type of questions?
Sure. Yeah, because the thing is, the within physical realm and virtual realm, isn't it? Uh, People, right? Mm, Nowadays, in terms of marketing, people only focus on the virtual realm. But as
Hmm.
someone like you, I'm sure that you know the importance of both sides, right? Why is it
Yeah.
that we shouldn't neglect the other part? The
Hmm.
physical realm as well.
You see, Aaron, I think while you're not a very mature, you're still very young. Good for you. I think you live life long enough that trends
Mm-hmm.
go in cycles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The latest report from Amazon gives us strange statistics for now. People like physical shopping now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for the time being, because there were times where people want to go online and it has caught up. Huh? It has caught up. Even the major people from the so-called previous generation go online. Huh? But
Right.
lately there is a shift of trend. People like physical shopping, and so
That's right.
Amazon did the right thing a couple of years ago. They started physical shopping. Yeah.
It's right. So in the end of the day, it still boils back into
Mm.
you cannot neglect one or the other. That is
Yeah,
just
you
a
can't.
cycle.
And yeah, it's just like in it both. And thanks to smartphone technology, because
Mm-hmm.
smartphone is a computer. Right? Now I talk a lot to retailers, wholesalers, because it's part of my work knowledge. And you find that even mature people go online first before they go shopping.
Right.
They
Right.
may not be very online savvy, but they check first, check prices, what is available. Then only they go shopping.
That's right.
Yeah. Physical
Actually,
shop.
for me myself, because I also do a lot of digital marketing, I think it's all part of a funnel. Like
Mm.
even it's
Yeah.
just different tools that we use as part of a funnel to
Mm.
get in the end result, which is people buying the customers' products, right?
Definitely, definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, on a separate matter, although related in a sense, I was known as a walking dictionary because of my love for the language. But
Uh-huh.
when smartphone came about, less of my friends call me up, because they can go online and look for words, look at thesaurus, meaning of words, pronunciation, and so forth and so forth. So there's a big
Yeah,
shift
you're out of
where
a job.
now the online realm. Luckily, I was not charging them. It was a free service. So this morning, I was wondering how come none of these people call me anymore. But
Mhm.
thanks to smartphone technology. Yeah.
Right. So
Yep.
in terms of static and motion, right? Assume that what you mean
Mm,
by that is actually just if like motion would be basically animation type of
yeah.
advertisements or media.
Yeah. Or
Static would be
just
just an
typical
image, right?
motion. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not necessary animation.
Okay.
Because static
So,
is like you in the industry. We
ah,
in the industry we use print.
right.
Print, whether physical RAM or online RAM.
So in the
Online
physical
newspaper.
realm, would you consider motion to be like, let's say, a physical promoter at the side of the road? Would that be
Yeah, that
considered?
will be part of motion as well. Of course, today
Mm-hmm.
you can merge motion into a physical event. But
Right.
static refers to there's no motion. So
Mm-hmm.
common sense tells us, although I'm not being sarcastic, a lot of people are not practicing common sense. They do the same approach when they do video, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of communication, in terms of story. It doesn't work that way. A very good
Mm-hmm.
example, not to say I like to popularize the franchise, Harry Potter
Mm-hmm.
started as a book, then
Right.
became a film,
That's right.
and then they cleverly started a website, yeah, and then they even more clever than that created a game out of Harry Potter. So
Mm-hmm.
that is what we mean by transmedia, in the sense that they need to be congruent to each other, and yet the approach is different. So
That's
the
right.
right term, of course, is a cross media,
Mm.
including merchandising as well.
Right. And I assume that it's quite important to know, all of these tools so that you have a clear picture of what you have as an option, right? And but
Definitely, as
mhm.
yep, go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. You first. You
Uh,
first.
because as brand owners, meaning if I own a brand, or whether whatever it is, whether
Yeah.
product, service, or corporate, or even tourism, whatever, right? I must know these differences before I talk to the agency, right? Not to say we don't trust the agency, because the proper agency, whether global or even local, it's proper, they're well trained, they will be approaching communication in various different ways.
Mm.
So
No,
the
I
brand
I
owners must be Yeah.
I see. I have a
Otherwise, a
question for
chicken
you
talking.
later on,
Yeah, yeah,
but I think let's go through the awareness part of it. I have a
yeah. All right.
curveball for you later on.
Okay.
Okay. So, so
Curveball, huh?
what
All
is
right.
the
The third,
awareness part of it?
the
No
third topic,
awareness.
yeah,
Yeah.
is threefold.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, many stages that we write to people. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, last week we covered the brand persona and customer journey in terms of a person, let's say public speaking, regardless of age. I do not know public speaking and the benefits it gives to me. So that is the awareness stage. And
Right.
then if I do know, I will consider public speaking the benefits, getting better promotion opportunities, build up my self-esteem and so forth and so forth. Travel the world even on speaking on your passion, not necessarily on your on a professional basis. And then the
Right.
third part is yes, I do know I want to have public speaking as part of my work too or life too. But which brand do I choose? So
Mm-hmm.
today we are going to specific. The first stage is awareness.
Right.
A person, a customer or member of public must have awareness of what you do, Aaron, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
product or service, in terms of a brand, right? Because without awareness, reputation doesn't come into the picture, competition doesn't come into the picture, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So it is very important that for as a brand owner and ad agency, and today we call brand communication agency, not just ad promotion
Right.
that's 30 years ago, because
Unless
we
you're
need to
just
talk
doing
about
it for fun, then
PR.
you don't need the awareness.
Yeah, you need to create awareness. Without awareness, there can be no consideration.
Yeah.
So at the awareness stage, you have to communicate in a way that you just creating an aura of the brand is important. Yeah, but you do not really send out a lot of knowledge. Just let people know there is such a brand, whether for
Right.
public speaking or for, in your case, digital marketing or is a pharmaceutical product or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then later you gain awareness depending. Next week we shall cover on the purposing a story and repurposing a story.
Right.
That's where we the what they call that, the I wouldn't say jumble, in a way you can interplay accordingly. Yeah. Then
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge build up for your target person, isn't it?
Ah. Yeah.
And activation is, as we say, the moment of truth. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
go to Lafayette Plaza a lot, because Bukit Bintang is some place I go to a lot. And at all the computer shop, activation is why buy me? So
Right.
that communication will have to be different, isn't it, Aaron? Instead of,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is a famous brand. This no no this that
Yeah.
is that.
Yeah, because everybody is
It's like
selling the same thing anyway.
selling the same thing
Right.
and with some differentiation. Some
Yeah.
people, some customers are very fastidious. They study detail, but some are what we call borderliners. Just
Mm.
something can tilt them over. So activation copywriting is very important in terms of posters, in terms of shelf talker, in terms of the the 10 card. Yeah, this may seem like very old fashioned direct marketing stuff, but it still works. That
Mm-hmm.
moment, I buy it.
I see. I see. But how about direct response copywriting? Is it the same as action copywriting?
Direct response
Direct
writing
response.
is what we covered last week. For those who were not with us, the macro meaning mass, and to more than one is advertising, PR, events, experiences, sales, hardcore sales.
Mm-hmm.
And direct response would fall under micro, one on one
Ah,
or one to one. So
I
it's
see. I
personal
see.
selling or direct marketing. I
Right.
personally, as a branding practitioner, I love direct response.
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
think clients will get that as well. Huh?
that's
As we
right.
say, as the Americans say, put your money where your mouth is. Bring in the results. Right? How do we know results are coming in or not? Yeah, there are metrics to
Hmm.
measure, but direct response. How many leads are coming in? How many leads can be progressing to possible conversion? And then what is the
Yeah.
end result?
And
And
direct
John,
response is quite
yeah,
an interesting topic by itself. Like there are so
what
many
is
facets to it. Like some people they use NLP to
Oh
actually
yes, yeah.
psycho the
Yeah,
reader.
yeah. It's a
It's
lot
quite
of
interesting.
psychology.
Yeah.
That's why for target audience with demographics and psychographics, the
Hmm.
psychology of a person, the
Right.
emotion and the psychosocial. Yeah.
Now, I'd like to ask you a question while we hit the halfway mark of the show. But first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone who is in: Patricia, Limi, Michael, Andrew, Richards himself, as well as Christine. Awesome to have you guys here. Now, we do have a compliment from the audience for your outfit again, Jonathan. Andrew Richards
No, my
is
outfit.
wearing. Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking speaking
This is
about brand image, right?
Indian kuta. Indian kuta. It's in red because my brand color is red.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So your communication with your brand is quite distinct and quite clear. So this
It
is
has
also
to
one
be
thing that,
Aaron because
yeah.
we need to walk the talk. But what I learned from Nadine Brandon, the
Mm-hmm.
father of self-esteem, is be first
Mm-hmm.
before you communicate. That means
Mm.
another way of saying walk the talk.
Ah,
I cannot tell people about branding and I don't practice. I do practice.
right, right. Now, today we've actually covered quite a bit of the theory of this portion of branding, but I'd like to
Mhm.
ask a
Yeah.
question. If let's say, uh, I mean, I'm sure you've met a lot of entrepreneurs through your training and
Yep.
stuff like that. What are the
Mhm.
most common mistakes that entrepreneurs, especially younger guys, make when they view all of this? When they're doing branding and they take into account all of this, the physical, virtual. I'm sure there are ways that they mess it up, right? What are the more common
Mm.
ways that people mess it up?
When I feel very sad, you ask a
Hmm.
very good question. Recently, I was invited to give a talk. Of course, I got paid to some SME.
Hmm.
You know, and typically we want to ask the question to know where they stand. I asked, "Are you in the midst of preparing a brand strategy?" Because I was speaking
Right.
in the realm of brand strategy. And then, would you consider doing a brand strategy? As in, not
Hmm.
necessary to me, but through any consultant.
Hmm.
And their business is coming up. So I thought the question was a very meaningful question. You know
Yeah.
what was the answer, Aaron?
What?
No, to both.
Oh, were they being
That is
sarcastic?
no. That is a
Straight face.
disaster. That is a disaster because they.
Uh,
I mean, it's a 2022. No, branding
right.
is not a new subject.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to online, there's so much of I wouldn't say hype. Hype means it need not be true. So much of talk, so much of added value into the need for a strategy.
Yeah.
You do
There's,
business, any business, whether big or small, you need a strategy. Yeah,
yeah.
whatever you do, and that is the sad state of affair. Many people having brands still don't believe in a brand strategy.
Right.
Which members of the audience, you look back at our past show, 10 to 12 shows now, all the gems are there for you to start your own brand strategy.
but but during the strategy phase, right? Let's say I already come up with a strategy. What are the more
Mm.
common places that people overlook in terms of that strategy?
Overlooked a lot is positioning
Positioning.
because that's the heart and soul of any brand. How do you position yourself in terms of your competitors in the market? I mean,
Right.
everyone has competitors in the market unless you are running what do you call that, a product just
The
all to
world's first.
yourself. as a monopoly, isn't it? Right?
Right, right. Maybe you're the first
So
one
you,
to come up with something lah.
yeah, being the first, but you got to be revitalizing yourself a lot, right? For instance, Domino's was the first to have delivery of pizza. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, today when you talk delivery of pizza, yeah, why you so old fashioned, right? But decades ago, they were the first.
Right,
And they
right.
specialize so much that Domino's pizza joints do not have tables and chairs, except one or two for people to wait. However, everybody goes into that. All pizza companies, all fast food go into that. So they had to revitalize. I like this to quote this example a lot. So now, the day I
Mm-hmm.
got a free voucher, because I'm not a fast food fan or pizza fan.
Right.
So I went there, I got a free 20 ringgit voucher. Well, their latest
Wow.
challenge to themselves is this, if you don't deliver within 15 minutes, no need to pay. Wow, I
Huh?
was hoping they don't deliver 15 minutes.
You don't come, bro.
So you see, being the first, we say first mover has its advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to keep reinventing yourself.
Right, right.
So
Because people
positioning,
will catch up, huh?
reinventing, people will catch up. The very simple, basic principle of business is that if you do well, people will come into the picture, isn't it?
That's right.
If you don't do well, you go suffer yourself. People will say that, huh? I'm not being
Right.
sarcastic. So you got to keep reinventing yourself. So today, when I see people tell them, say, we are an innovative company, it's understood you got to be innovative. But what is your innovation? So I like
Right.
Apple slogan a lot. Think different.
Mm-hmm.
And then that slogan can be permanent because think different. It's not just we are different.
But how
What are you
creative should
different
you
now?
be?
Sorry?
Like, but how creative should you be? Because, I mean, on one hand, you want to think of the box, but on another hand, you are limited to, uh, there's so many factors as well. Like, you
It's
can't, if you're selling
yeah,
apples, you cannot suddenly change everything to selling oranges. My plantation already have all the apple seeds.
it's tougher and tougher. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
this is a heavy debate, and I don't want to take side. Many people will say that after Steve Jobs left, Tim Cook was not as successful, right? And Tim Cook is not a creative person, by the way. He's more of a
Right.
business person. But I would also be in the middle saying that, like you say just now, paraphrase, how can you continue to be different, isn't it? The iPad was very new last time, but today it's not popular anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even other brands, isn't it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what will be the next thing?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Eventually, you would hit a peak lah
Mm.
like the market and stuff, right?
And then that's why we got to put our thinking cap on all the time. Of course, first mover advantage can be dangerous. You need to
Mm,
educate people, right? Only big companies dare to do that. Education is pricey to let people know that you're doing something different. Huh? But humans like to try something new every now and then. Yeah.
that's right. So,
Mm.
speak on that topic, right? Trying something new. What is
Ah,
your take on all these companies trying to use the cryptocurrency realm to enhance their business? Like you see a lot of Nike, even Mercedes, they're trying to sell their G wagon as an NFT. What is your take on that?
my take is this. I'm not an expert on crypto, but I've been observing. Why? Because I thought I want to go into the game as well. When they first started, I didn't because it's not
Hmm.
regulated. Huh?
Right.
It's like you can't even report. I mean, just
That's right.
like if you were caught in running a spa out of the rules, you can't report the management and all because it's illegal in the first place, right? So the Bitcoin started from less than 100 US, went up to 20K 2018.
Yeah.
Recently went up to 40K. This last
Hmm.
week was like, oh,
Hmm.
almost end of the world. It
Free
fell to
falling.
20K. Free falling, right? El Salvador, one of the
Yep.
considered clever countries themselves, they
They use
put a lot of
Bitcoin.
their assets into it.
Yeah.
Their
The main
their
currency is
coun-
Bitcoin.
their countries what do you call it, GP, fell by 50%, last week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's good to be up with the trend of doing things, but you got to watch it. You got to watch
Mm.
it.
But it's inevitable, right? Because I mean, tons of companies are putting billions and billions of money into this new technology, especially
Mm.
the metaverse, right? A lot
Yeah,
of MNCs, they're just dumping money like nothing just to create a
yeah,
virtual universe for the future.
yeah,
So I think it's something that is inevitable that, like marketeers like us, we eventually would have to explore that realm on how to
yeah,
integrate that as how to say, like a USP or a marketing gimmick as well, right?
yeah. I mean, you got to keep on expanding the realm of doing things. Huh? I mean,
Hmm.
Facebook believe in metaverse so much that they changed their parent company from Facebook to
Meta.
Meta, isn't it, right? And is anybody's guess now, and then merging with AI, the world is very different. I'm glad I was born to two eras, before the
Uh-huh.
online.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I feel sad that my father did not live through two eras, before the online came about. And not only online, now you got metaverse.
Right, right, right. Even more deeper into it, right?
Yeah. And I like the concept of NFT actually,
Hmm.
non-fungible tokens, because then you can sort of patent whatever and you do it well,
That's
make
right.
money. But now it's in a bit of this area as well. Yeah, a bit of this
That's right.
area.
That's right. But I'm sure that there will be more opportunities in the future.
Yeah.
However, right now it seems that our opportunity to share more has depleted. So
Okay.
as we are ending the show, I'd like
Yeah.
to ask you, John, if you'd like to share any words of wisdom to summarize what we have shared today.
I could be biased because I'm in this field, of brand strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Do have a brand strategy. It need not be done by a global consultant. I mean, in my case, we are trained in the global way of doing things. And when we say global, doesn't mean it's strange. It's the correct way that the big boys are doing it, right? And you could bring it down to the outline. As I said for the third time, you refer to the 10 episodes they've done so far. All the ideas about coming a brand strat is all there, you know.
Yep.
And I like to always use a favorite statement, a quote, not mine. Think big, start small.
Awesome. Awesome.
Think big,
And
start.
next week we have something to look forward to, right? What was the
Yeah.
topic again?
Next week will be how to purpose your communication.
Ooh la la.
Uh,
Interesting.
because a lot of people do communication without purpose.
Ah.
Simply do, simply
Hmm.
do, and when the results are not working out, then they wonder why, why.
Talk also cannot simply talk one ma.
As well as repurposing. Yeah,
Right.
because there's a lot of question whenever I give talk on brand strategy. So if I do a story on say Facebook, do I do on another social media? I say why not?
Mm. That's
Especially
a
now, a lot of social media is free, or even the charge is a fraction of what was levied by the media owners, those days
right.
before online. But you need to know how to repurpose it. That's why transmedia this week is useful. How to
Mm.
purpose and repurpose. So today is like the foundation. Next week, how to purpose a communication and then repurpose, because your target audience would like to go to different places. Yeah.
Fair, fair.
And
And that's a question for next week then. But for now, thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much, John, for sharing your wisdom once again.
yeah, thank you very
Do
much, Aaron.
every weekday we are live every 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, and do not forget the obligatory like, share, and subscribe. Thank you everyone, and have a lovely day or night wherever you are in the big wide world. How and goodbye.
Wow. Bye.